Leagh, welcome to Floor Talk. It's great to have you on the show.
It is so wonderful to be here. I always love being at the New York Stock Exchange.
Thank you. Well, I want to start off by talking about the company. Tell me about Coupa. What do you do?
We imagine building the network that drives the future of trade, effectively bringing buyers and sellers together for autonomous transactions, taking all the work out of that equation. And it's a really interesting time to be doing that. Global trade is growing at 14.5% compounded. It will crest the year at $33 trillion. So it's certainly a need that needs to be serviced. And Bain says that 80% of an organization's spend flows through its procurement organization. So you can imagine there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for optimization when you see trade grow. Procurement is really struggling to be able to manage that demand, and somebody who has a network that makes it simpler is a great idea.
Now, let's talk about AI.
Sure.
Tell me, what is Coupa's approach to AI and how is it different?
It's a great question, and I'm going to give you a stock answer, which I imagine you hear all the time, which is the best AI is the result of the best data, always. So from its very inception, this is what makes Coupa different. We asked our customers from day one for permissioned use of their data. And so for 17 years, we've been gathering customer data, and we've been structuring it and anonymizing it and organizing it, and we surface it for the better use of the entire community of our customers. Today, we have $7 trillion worth of transaction data. That grows at $1 trillion a year. And if we were a country, we'd be the third largest GDP in the world with that level of transaction volume. So that's a pretty interesting thing to have at this time. Really good, safe data, which makes for great AI.
Now, tell me about how Coupa's AI helps your customers navigate the current macroeconomic climate, and what does that mean for global trade?
Let's talk about the complexity of global trade. We already talked about the fact that it's growing, $33 trillion, compounded 14.5%. But it's getting way more complicated. So sanctions, regulations, nationalism versus globalism, supply chains are becoming more fragile. These are really normal things that every organization has to deal with, whether you're a buyer or a supplier. So what you're looking for is help. And the help comes in a large series of transactions that tell you who buys from whom, at what rate, at what cost, in what volume, from what jurisdiction, against what regulation. And so if you can match those two things, in effect, we take the cost and risk out of buying or selling anything, which is, in this very precarious time for trade, a real gift to both buyers and suppliers.
And finally, tell me more about Coupa's vision, and what does a world look like that's driven by AI and autonomous sourcing and buying, and how does it benefit buyers and suppliers?
What's in our data store, okay? So it's contracts, sales orders, purchase orders, goods receipts, etc. So we actually know when a transaction is concluded. We know when an invoice should be issued. Given that we do, it actually makes the need to create an invoice, to execute a transaction, no longer required. You can imagine, if we can eliminate that process, we can make it totally autonomous by taking that data store and applying AI agents to it to match transactions based on the conditions that the buyer sets or the supplier sets, and execute that transaction based on those conditions, then what we can in effect do is take all the cost out of that equation. And for buyers, that's about $100 billion a year. And for suppliers, it's about $250 billion a year. And perhaps even better, it makes trade more fair, it makes it more sustainable, it eliminates the risk. I'll give you an example. Microsoft has reduced its emissions by 60% by trading in this network. And it also does another amazing thing, which is it eliminates mundane work from people which means that they can do higher order important work like creating and imagining and relating to one another. So that's what we're in the business of doing.
Well, Leagh, it has been wonderful to talk with you. Thank you for joining me on Floor Talk today.
I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you so much, Judy.